Let's talk about rights and responsibility. Rights not only place obligation upon the state, okay, um, to act in a certain way, for instance, to ensure sustainable development, but they also place obligation upon each of us. So it is not only for, upon the state, but also upon each of us. Okay, each of us, matlab you, me, your parents, my parents, uncle, auntie, everybody, all the citizens. Firstly, they compel us to think not just of our own personal needs and interests, but to defend some things as being good for all of us. Protecting the ozone layer, minimizing air and water pollution, maintaining the green cover by planting new trees, and preventing cutting down a forest, maintaining the ecological balance are things that are essential for all of us. They represent the common good. Okay, that we must act uh, to protect ourselves as well as for the future generations who are uh, to inherit a safe and clean world without which they cannot lead a reasonably good life. So not only the obligation is on the state, but also there is some obligation which is on everybody, all of us, regarding that the things we do should only not be for our own personal needs and interest, but also for the good of all of us. Secondly, they require that I respect the rights of others. If you want if you want that your respects are sorry, or that your rights are respected, then even you have to respect other people's right. If I say that I must be given the right to express my views, I must also grant the same right to others. Okay, if I do not want others to interfere in the choices I make, the dress I wear, or the music I listen to, I must refrain from interfering in the choices that others make. I must leave them free to choose their music and clothes. I cannot use the right to free speech to incite a crowd to kill my neighbor. In exercising my rights, I cannot deprive others of their rights. My rights are, in other words, limited by the principle of equal and same rights for all. So this is very important, that you cannot just do anything saying that this is your right. Similarly, if the other person can also end up doing the same thing, claiming that it is their right. So that's what we are saying, the principle of equal and same rights for all. Thirdly, we must balance our rights when they come into conflict. For instance, my rights to freedom of expression allows me to take pictures. However, if I take pictures of a person bathing in his house without his consent and post them on the internet, that would be a violation of his right to privacy. So that's what it is saying, that there should be consent matlab agreeing. Okay, this is the two characters are talking. Did you see the latest, sting operation on TV yesterday? I couldn't believe the conversation between the hotshot official and the famous actress. That was a cheap sensationalism. Besides, it was an infringement of their right to privacy. So that's what they're saying. Somebody, your sting operation also, that has to be seen, that what that sting operation is for the purpose. For what purpose? If it is for the bigger goal, that's still understandable, but uh, going around and recording somebody's personal life, somebody's personal discussion, that's not right. Fourthly, citizens must be vigilant about limitations which may be placed on their rights. We've always spoken about reasonable restrictions. A currently debated topic concerns the increased restrictions with many governments, when which many governments are imposing on the civil liberties of citizens on the grounds of national security. Okay, so a lot of times the restrictions are done in the name of national security. Even in India, you will see like the prevention of um, any act, terrorism act, or there are a lot of there, but basic will be there, of course, that in the name of national security. Protecting national security may be defended as necessary for safeguarding the rights and well-being of citizens. But at what point could the restrictions imposed as necessary for security themselves become a threat to the right of people? Should a country facing the threat of terrorist bombing be allowed to curtail the liberty of citizens? Should it be allowed to arrest people on mere suspicion? Should it be allowed to intercept their mail or tap their phones? Should it be allowed to use torture to extract confession? So they're saying that should they allowed be to do this and that, in the name of national security? Do you think that should it be allowed? In such situations, the question to ask is whether the person concerned poses an imminent threat to the society. I mean, okay, so this is the important part. Even arrested person should be allowed legal counsel and the opportunity to present their case before a magistrate or a court of law. We need to be extremely cautious about giving government powers which could be useful to curtail the civil liberties of individual for powers could which could be used to curtail the civil liberties of individuals, for such powers can be misused. Okay, so yeah, this thing of misusing power, we've seen it a lot of times, where somebody, with great power comes great responsibility, and you shouldn't misuse if you are at a position of power. Governments can become authoritarian and undermine the very reasons for which government exists, namely the well-being of the members of the state. Hence, even though the rights can never be absolute, we need to be vigilant. Vigilant matlab be carefully, be alert in protecting our rights and those of others, for they form the basis of a democratic society. Okay, a one man's right end where the other man's nose begins. So do you think that is it there that one a man's right begins as soon as the other man's nose begins? So that's you should we every time we are talking about this, when we talk about this freedom also, we spoke about you know freedom from and freedom to, and we were talking about this area of a space where you could be allowed to do anything and there can be no external force and authority. So also in the same cases for rights, it should there is an area where you are able to express your rights and use your rights, but you should also be careful that you are not invading other person's area, you're not invading their rights, so that also has to be taken care of. Okay, so on December 1948, here, the General Assembly of the United Nations so we've talked a lot of times about that. General Assembly is basically the parliament of the of all the countries. Adopt Mainly when I say all the countries, is that countries who are part of it. Adopted and proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Following this historic act, the Assembly called upon all the member countries to publicize the text of the declaration, to cause it to be disseminated, displayed, and read and expounded principally in schools and other educational institutions without distinction based on the political status of the country or territory. So there was this adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. Okay, so what does it read? Let's see. Preamble. Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and equal and inalienable rights of all the members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. So that we are talking about equal and inalienable rights of all the members. Okay, whoever comes in the this branch we call humans. Whereas disregard and contempt of human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and beliefs, and freedom from fear, speech and belief, freedom from fear and want, uh, and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people, whereas it is essential if a man is not to be compelled to have resource uh, as a last resort to rebellion against tyrannies like the oppressive nature, and oppression, that human rights should be protected by the rule of law. They should be protected by the rule of law, whereas it is essential to promote the development of a friendly relation. Now we're talking about this friendly relation, that when two uh, countries, the relationship between them should be good, as in like they should be friendly. They shouldn't be in a they shouldn't be in a war, or they shouldn't be cold war. We recently saw cold war between United States and China regarding the you know this thing, uh, all the market prices and everything. One country was increasing the prices, then the other was also increasing the prices regarding the import and export of materials. Whereas the peoples of the United Nations have in the Charter reaffirmed their faith in the fundamental human rights, in the dignity and the worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in the larger freedom. Whereas member states have pledged themselves to achieve, in cooperation with the United Nations, the promotion of universal respect. This is important for and the observations of human rights and fundamental freedom. So that's what we are talking about. Whereas a common understanding of these rights and freedom is of the greatest importance for the full realization of this pledge. Now, therefore, the Central Assembly proclaims this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all people and all nations, to the end that every individual and every organ of society, keeping this declaration constantly in mind, shall strive by teaching and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms, and by progressive measures, national and international, to secure the universal and effective recognition and observance, both among the people of member states themselves and among the people of the territories under their jurisdiction. Okay. Now, if we talk about like the exercises, so I hope you've understood, because we are finished with this chapter. What are the rights and why are they important? What are the basis of the claims of rights that can we? Of course, we've know that rights are basically the justifiable claims made by people. What are the bases? Of course, you can say natural law, because they are born in that the natural law. Then there is human rights. Okay, on what grounds are some rights considered universal in nature? Identify the three rights which you consider universal. We've done that in detail. Just see. Discuss briefly some of the new rights claim which are being put forward in our country today. For example, the rights of tribal people to protect their habitat and the way of life, and the right of children against. So here we are actually expanding the scope. Okay, this thing of expanding the scope uh, has we have spoken about it in other last year books also. Differentiate between political, economic, and cultural rights. Give examples of each kind of right. So we've done that also. How it should be, whether right to vote, contest election, um, economic ones also we discuss, and cultural also. We also have right to cultural and educational right. Rights places some limits on the authority of the state. Explain with example. So right now only we talked about obligation. Okay, about okay, and others also we did it. Just go through the chapter once again. Just flip the chapters and you'll come to know. So we are done with this chapter. If you have any doubts, please comment down. You're free to do that. Whatever suits you, I will reply. And take care of yourself. Stay healthy, eat healthy, be good to others, and bye.